Major New York City yeshiva admitting to defrauding the federal government of millions of dollars. The Central United Talmudical Academy in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, charged with funneling money meant to feed needy children into its own pockets. The school has agreed to pay $5 million in penalties, in addition to more than $3 million in restitution for that and other violations.
An ADOS dude, there was an ADOS dude named Bill something, Bill the Icon.
Bring up all the dirty laundry.
So shout out to the reparationist perspective. I saw this story on her community section, and this is a hot off the press story that you probably won't hear much about in the mainstream media, of course, but I had to bring this to you in light of recent events. First, I want to show you a quick clip from the news broadcast. 1 second.
Major New York City yeshiva admitting to defrauding the federal government of millions of dollars. The Central United Talmudical Academy in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, charged with funneling money meant to feed needy children into its own pockets. The school has agreed to pay $5 million in penalties, in addition to more than $3 million in restitution for that and other violations.
And again, just a quick blip on the radar from Eyewitness News in New York City. But we're going to get into an article from what I deem to be a reliable source. And this is from the Times of Israel. And as you can see, the headline here reads, New York's biggest Hasidic yeshiva to pay $8 million after admitting to systemic fraud. Now, a yeshiva is a traditional Jewish educational institution focused on the study of rabbinic literature, primarily the Talmud. So it's basically a Jewish school. So here, the name of the school is the Central United Talmudical Academy, and they acknowledged scamming government funds meant to feed needy children, hiding salaries as Jewish school system comes under increased scrutiny. So a major Jewish day school in New York City on Monday admitted in U.S. federal court it had defrauded the government of millions of dollars, including by misappropriating funds designated to feed needy children. The Central United Talmudical Academy in Brooklyn agreed to pay $5 million in penalties in addition to over $3 million in restitution it has paid already. The resolution will allow the school to avoid criminal charges and close a federal investigation that began in 2018. So they will avoid criminal charges for scamming over $8 million. The announcement came as New York's yeshiva system has come increasingly under scrutiny for its lack of secular education and receipt of public funding. The criticism and efforts to better enforce state education guidelines have sparked fierce backlash in the Haredi community. CUTA is New York's largest Hasidic yeshiva and is located in the Williamsburg neighborhood of Brooklyn, a very well-to-do area. The home base of the Satmar movement. The not-for-profit school serves over 5,000 students from preschool to high school out of 3 buildings. The boys' school serves around 2,500 students, court documents said. So it says here, the school came to an agreement with prosecutors over charges of conspiring to commit wire fraud in New York's Federal Eastern District Court. It will be allowed to continue operations after the resolution, the Justice Department said. Lozer Porges, the school's former director, and his assistant, Joel Lowy, pled guilty to fraud in 2018. Porges was sentenced to 2 years in prison, and Lowy got probation, community service, and $98,000 in restitution penalties. Okay, so we did have 2 people that were prosecuted, the school's former director and his assistant. U.S. Attorney Breon Peace on Monday called the school's misconduct systemic and wide-ranging, including stealing over $3 million allocated for school children in need of meals. School also engaged in tax and benefit fraud by employees, a city investigator said. FBI said the school had carried out multiple systems of fraud in order to cheat the government. And these are Hasidic Jews. If you've never seen Hasidic Jews, they are unique in their attire and the way that they style, the beard and their hair. But nonetheless, the Justice Department said the school had received over $3.2 million in funding for federal meal reimbursement programs to feed students in 2014 and 2015. The program was almost all fabricated, however, and the school diverted the funding for other uses, including to hold parties for adults. The school fabricated records and lied to government officials. The school fabricated records and lied to government agencies as part of the scam. While looking into the meal plan, investigators found evidence of other fraud at the school, including manipulating its payroll to commit benefit and tax fraud. The school employs 700 to 800 teachers and dozens of other staff. For example, school hid employee income by paying workers in cash and providing them with coupons. The employees would use the coupons at local stores, which would then redeem the coupons with the school to receive payment, creating an underground economy hidden from the government. School also provided off-the-books payments to employees in undisclosed investment accounts. The employees were then able to claim benefits and welfare, especially child care vouchers that would not have been available to them at their actual income level. This is deep. This is heavy. Everybody mad at Ye. Boy, I tell you the truth. The school gets public funding. It's not a private school. And Mayor Eric Adams was recently on the record criticizing some of these same types of schools for not providing adequate public education. As you heard earlier, these schools are strictly focused on rabbinic studies for those who intend to be rabbis or to go into the Jewish clergy. So this is huge. It says here, other schemes by the school included contriving tax exemptions, setting up fake no-show jobs for spouses, relatives of friends, and employees. Relatives of friends of employees. Wow. So this is like some mafia shit right here. That's what the mafia used to do. Setting up no-show jobs. So they're on the payroll and they get a regular salary, but they never have to show up for work. They said receiving technology funding for purposes unrelated to education and providing child care without licenses. So they were just skirting the law at every turn. And their communities are very insulated. I'm a native New Yorker, from Brooklyn, New York, grew up adjacent to a sizable Hasidic community. So it says here, in addition to the financial penalties, the school has put in place a zero tolerance policy for fraud. So they've put that in place to police themselves. They've replaced its management. They set up new financial and procedural controls, and they created an oversight committee among other steps. So I'm sure this was an action plan that was prescribed for them by the authorities. Some of the measures have been in place for several years, which the Justice Department credited with helping reach a resolution in the case. An independent monitor will assess compliance for 3 years. The Justice Department announced the Monday resolution in Yiddish. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of New York regularly publishes material in languages besides English if a case concerns a community that uses another language. New York's massive yeshiva system has repeatedly come under fire in recent weeks, mostly over secular education requirements, setting off backlash from its supporters. State authorities have sought a balance between religious beliefs and values and secular education requirements in non-public schools. New York yeshivas have long been required to provide secular education that is substantially equivalent to lessons at nearby public schools, but the law has not been effectively enforced. Again, they are habitual line steppers, lawbreakers, and I'm pretty sure that they have government officials who look in the other way. Surely. It says critics of yeshiva education say many of the schools fail to provide adequate instruction in secular subjects, including English and math, leaving graduates unprepared to enter the workforce or mainstream society. Yeah, because they have no-show jobs to look forward to and off the books payments for goods and services, more than likely. Says proponents of the system argue that government meddling is an infringement on religious protections. They say the schools are foundations of successful communities and that students are well educated, pointing to the fact that students are in class longer than their public school peers each day. They probably having, I won't say pizza parties. Well, they have kosher pizza. Probably having pizza parties. The debate has mostly focused on ultra-Orthodox yeshivas, not on modern Orthodox schools, which provide more secular education. The Haredi community has fiercely resisted interference in the school's curriculum, and critics have said public officials were reluctant to wade into the issue due to the potential political blowback. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Yeah, the political blowback. So you know people are looking the other way. Yeah, I'm mad at Ye. Boy, I tell you the truth. There's so many other people that you could focus your ire on. I mean, and like they said, this is widespread. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I don't even want to read any more of this. I mean, this is nasty. $8 million. You feel me? And I don't know. Is this type of practice common to this community? We have to start asking these questions. I don't know. $8 million. And this is just like Brett Favre. $5 million in welfare money, in aid to families with dependent children money. And he stole $5 million to build a volleyball gymnasium. Like, make it make sense. And he hasn't been canceled. I'm sure that the Central United Talmudical Academy will not be canceled. You won't even hear about this on the news, I am pretty sure. You probably won't see many stories about this, I'm pretty sure. Again, shout out to the Reparationist Perspective for posting this in her community section. Y'all go follow her and tell her Bill sent you. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I had to bring this to you. I ran a little longer than I expected. I might have to chop it down, but yeah, you guys look into this. Hop down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's your man Bill Money signing off. And remember, what doesn't come out in the wash always comes out in the rinse. And this is Dirty Laundry Media signing off. See you on the other side.